All right, so everybody should have 5-1. Go ahead and click on it. Unit 5 is a continuation of Unit 4, okay? In Unit 4, we started talking about fractions. We talked about ordering fractions. We talked about cross-multiplying. We talked about simplifying using the greatest common factor. Now, we are going to start with the least common multiple. We've got to figure out the least common multiple before we can add and subtract. Because the least common multiple helps us to find our common denominator. Now, in your table of contents, everybody needs to listen to this part. In your table of contents, everybody may be at different places in your table of contents. Yes, I have started mine on a brand new page up here. And the reason that I've started on a brand new page is because, if you remember in Unit 4, I was down here at the bottom, okay? So, I flipped over to the back and started here just so that everybody can see. I ran out of room. In my journal, I had already flipped to the back, so I don't need to start a new page, okay? I have just, right here, on the back of this page, continued on where I was, okay? I didn't start a new page. We're not wasting paper. You just continue on where you are, okay? Is everybody with me? So, the two things that I want you to write for today are Unit 5 fractions and 5-1 least common multiple. Those are the only two things that I want you to write, and then I want you to stop. Taking its precious time today. All right, on page 31, you can take up the whole page. If you have a tab and you want to add a tab, add one. But mine says Unit 5 fractions. Okay? Your page 31 needs to say Unit 5 fractions. After you write that, whatever writing utensil you're using, just put it down. All right, is everybody about finished? All right, I want to talk about a couple of things. The first thing is our this indicator that we're on, okay? So, we talked about this first big part before. Find common factors and multiples using two whole numbers. We did, see here, we're on B right here. Do y'all see that? We did A when we talked about the greatest common factor. Now we're on B, which is the least common multiple. And on your paper that I just passed out, I passed out your notes for today, I want you to take those on page 32. That's page 31.
Oh, I know my pages are stuck.
On page 32, I want you to take that paper down, and then we're going to look at some things. Did I give you one, TJ? Huh? No, paper. Okay. All right, what does the word least mean?
The lowest.
The lowest. What's another word we could use for least?
Smallest.
Smallest.
Rare.
What about minimum? Yes. All of those words mean least, okay? So you may want to circle that word and write those words up there to help you remember what least means. If we see these words, we might be looking for the least common multiple, okay? Now, we've talked about what the word common means. What does the word common mean?
Post office.
Not this time. All right, I can't remember which person I used in here when I did this last. Okay, Jenna and I have some things in common, okay? We're both girls. We're both wearing long sleeves. We're both wearing blue pants. We're both wearing shoes with no socks. We're both wearing a face mask. Those are things that we have in common. Well, what does common mean?
Same.
The same. It means the same. Those are the things that we have that are the same, okay? Now, multiple is a word that tends to be a little harder to define. And multiple means you count by something. Or you multiply to get that, okay? But I'm going to use that term very lightly, all right? So multiples of 2 are 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is
4.
2 times 3 is
6.
2 times 4 is
8.
so we're counting by what? 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, on and on, all right? What if I wanted to know multiples of 3? What would we do? 3, 6, 9, 12. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. And we just keep going, okay? So what we're doing is we're being given 2 numbers, and we're trying to find the lowest same number that you count by, okay? Does that make sense? So, on your paper, oh goodness. Let me just, oh, okay. Here. I do want you to have a highlighter today, so if you don't have a highlighter, you need to raise your hand so I can bring you a highlighter, okay? Because I do want you to highlight that the least common multiple helps you find a common denominator, okay? The least common multiple helps you find a common denominator, all right? So we have that right here, okay? The first way we're going to find a common denominator is not the least common multiple, okay? The first way, it may be, but most of the time it's not, okay? So let's say that we're given the fractions 1/6 and 1/12. And we're told to find a common denominator. So my denominators are 6 and 12. And I can multiply those numbers, all right, to get a common denominator. What is 6 times 12? 72. Is that the lowest number that those two have in common? No. That is not the LCM, okay? It is not the lowest number that they have in common. The next two ways are, so I do want to take your highlighter, and I want you to, and I forgot to type this right here. The next two ways are finding the least common multiple, okay? And I'm going to use the same two numbers for every example, just so that you can see how it works. So when we list the multiples, I make a sideways T-chart, okay? So I want you to make your T-chart, your sideways T-chart, just like that. And when we list them, we are counting by that number, okay? This way, it's easy to make a mistake, all right? It's very easy to miss one if you're not very careful. This is why I tend not to do this way. All right, so if we count by sixes, we're going to have to do 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4. So let's start. I'm going to start with 6. What comes next?
12, 18, 24.
All right, I'm stopping because I ran out of room. If I need to keep going, we'll go back and keep going. All right? Now, let's count by 12s. What am I going to start with?
12, 24, 36, 48,
Gets hard, doesn't it?
60.
Gets a little difficult, right? So, now what we've got to find is, remember, we're looking for the lowest number that they have in common, all right? So, is there a 6 on the bottom?
Nope.
Nope. So, well, I'm going to put a little X above it, just so I know that's not 1, okay? 12, do I have a 12 on the bottom?
Yes.
Yes. Y'all, I'm going to circle that. That is the lowest number that they have in common. All right? So, my LCM is 12. All right? Now, we're going to do the ladder method. I want you to take your pencil and I want you to put a star beside the ladder method. This is the way that we are going to use, okay? How many people remember doing the ladder method for something else?
Right, yeah.
What did we do the ladder method for?
Greatest common factor.
The greatest common factor. So, do we already know how to do the ladder method? Yes. Guess what? It's the same thing, okay? We're just going to add a part, okay? So, let's take our 6 and our 12 and write them and draw a step. I want you to do that. 6 and 12 and draw a step. What can I divide 6 and 12 by? 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 12 divided by 6 is 2. Can I keep going? No. Okay, so we're going to talk about something and see if this looks a little bit familiar to you. How many people like to doodle? How many people like to draw bubble letters? So, when you draw a bubble L, does it kind of look like that?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do, oh, it's Valentine's almost. People, how many people have done something similar? You may not have done this, but you've done something similar. Okay? And you draw your L like that, right? Now, least common multiple starts with what letter? L. So watch. Just watch, okay? Did I make a bubble L?
Yeah.
Yes. Least common multiple, we make a L, okay?
Cool.
So I want you to draw your bubble L just like I did, okay? Now, to figure out the least common multiple, we are going to multiply these. 6 times 1 times 2. So what is 6 times 1?
6.
6. 6 times 2 is 12. Y'all, did we get the same thing?
I think both.
Yeah. We got the same thing. We're using a method that we've already learned and using it for this, okay? Now, if we were finding the GCF, do we make the big L?
No.
No. We only do what?
Bring down the number.
Just the 6, okay? Just the number on the left, all right? So, we're going to practice this. No, I'm going to change that. On the left side of your paper, we're going to find the LCM of 6 and 10. So I just want you to write the numbers 6 and 10 and draw your step. That's all I want you to do. 6 and 10 and draw your step. What can I divide 6 and 10 by? 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Can we go any farther?
No.
No. Now what do we have to do? Draw our big L. And we have 2 times 3 times 5. What's 2 times 3?
2 times 3 is
6. Times 5 is
30.
30. So the least common multiple of 6 and 10 is what?
30.
30. Let's try another one. Find the least common multiple of 4 and 12. So what's the first thing I need to do?
Go ladder.
Ladder.
Draw my step. What can I divide 4 and 12 by? 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Am I finished?
Yeah.
What do I have to do now?
Draw it.
Got to draw my big old L. And I have 4 times 1 times 3. What's 4 times 1?
4.
Times 3?
12.
So what's the least common multiple of 4 and 12? 12. All right, here's the catch, because there is a little catch here, okay? On the SC Ready test, on the math test, sometimes they ask you for the LCM, sometimes they ask you for the greatest common factor. But y'all, Miss Birch tried to teach y'all. In life, are they going to say, all right, Justin, what's the least common multiple? Have you ever heard anybody ask your parents that? No. Have you ever heard anybody ask your parents, oh, what's the greatest common factor?
No.
No. That is not real life, y'all. So we've got to be able to apply this to word problems, to real life things, okay? And believe it or not, both of these are used in real life, okay? How many people have ever had a cookout at your house and you were buying hot dogs and hot dog buns or hamburgers and hamburger buns? And for the life of me, I can't figure out why hot dogs come in a pack of 12
Yeah.
and the weenies come in a pack of
6.
10, no, 8, 12 and 8. The hot dogs come in a pack of 12. The buns usually come in a pack of 8. Well, if I'm going to buy a pack of hot dogs, I need what?
Same number.
And they don't come that way, okay? Now, as parents, do I need, if I'm having people over, do I need my buns and my hot dogs to match?
Yeah.
Yes. I need the same number of hot dogs as I need buns. Y'all, your parents are finding the least common multiple, believe it or not, okay? They learned how to do this in school. They may not remember, but they did, okay? So, the last one that we're going to do is a word problem. And I'm not asking you to write this word problem on your paper, but we are going to work this word problem out on the rest of your paper. I'm going to do this right here just so I can work at the top because I don't have any more room at the bottom. Pencils are sold in packs of 12 and erasers in packs of 9. Mr. Joplin wants to give each of 36 students a pencil and an eraser. What is the least number of packs he should buy so there are none left over? So, my key word here is least. So I know that this has something to do with what? The least common multiple. It's got something to do with that, okay? Now, I can see that it tells me how many students does he have? 36 students. And he's buying what? Pencils and erasers. And I'm going to leave a little bit of space between those two because I'm going to write something, all right? Pencils come in packs of what? 12. I'm going to put 12 pack. Erasers are what? 9. 9 per pack, okay? Now, how many students does he have?
36.
Is 36 a multiple of 12?
Yes.
Yes. So, 12 times what gives me 36?
3.
3. So, how many packs of pencils does he need?
3.
All right, erasers. 9, can I multiply by something to get 36?
Yes.
Yes. By what?
4.
So how many packs of erasers does he need?
4.
Now, is that something that legitimately could happen in real life?
Yes.
Yes. That is legitimately something that could happen. Okay? Now, on the exit ticket for today, there are some that just ask you for the number, and then there is a word problem. Okay?